Hi there, welcome back to Nigeria The Sides 2023 here on Vanguard Live, broadcasting to you from Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. Well, of course, we are still on the election day, and of course, we are going to be looking at a very, very interesting topic. We are going to be looking at voters as pawn in the hands of politicians. And of course, joining me via Zoom to discuss this very interesting topic is Mr. Kayode Samuel. Mr. Kayode Samuel is a former Commissioner of Information, Ogun State, and of course, a former student of the Institute of Commonwealth Studies, University of London. Mr. Kayode, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Right, I'm glad to be talking with you now. It's quite kind of hectic to get you in the past few minutes. Okay, sir. We are looking at the ongoing general election, and I'm sure you have been observing, in the past few hours. Can you please share your thoughts with us on this election?
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, just a slight correction. I was never a student of the Institute of Commonwealth Studies. I'm a visiting fellow at the Institute.
Right.
That's just a slight correction I need to make.
Right.
But I have gone around and I've also seen quite a bit from footages from across the country. The elections seem to be going well. Of course, the usual thing of some had to reach areas not receiving materials early enough. For example, the area where the former president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, voted this afternoon didn't quite get the materials very well, but he has voted and everything seems to be going well. Some problems with crowd control, I think, especially where Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso voted. It seemed quite rowdy, and I was at a point concerned even for his own personal security, even though the presenters seemed to believe that it was his supporters that were there. But one of the cardinal rules of electioneering is that independence of the individual voter is sacrosanct, and I didn't think that it was too nice that there were so many people milling around him in such an enclosed place while he was casting his vote. But beyond that, I think this is a vast improvement on many of the elections that we have seen, and it's definite that we should give a thumbs up to the election organizing body, which is INEC, for what it has done, at least what we have seen so far from reports from across the country and also from our own eyewitness accounts going around some parts of Lagos.
Right. Well, you just said thumbs up to INEC. I think so far the exercise has been commendable. But then reports reaching us is indicating that Governor Nyesom Wike and his wife were unable to vote, and that's owing to glitches recorded as a result of the beavers usage in Rivers State. What would you make of that isolated case, if I must say?
Well, there will always be glitches. Let's not pretend that we live in a 100% perfect society. I recall that in 2015, the card reader couldn't read the thumb of the former president, Tuneke. So there will always be one glitch here or the other. But the important thing is to look at the general picture. When we look at the general picture, I still think that it's some kind of improvement on past elections.
Well, general picture, you said, but with every process of elections, Nigerians seem to be at the receiving ends, in terms of PVC, collection of PVC voting and, registration and all of that. What do you make of this? Because people feel that voters are beginning to be pawns in the hands of, our politicians.
But what I I see, really, first and foremost, it's not the politicians that organize the elections. It is the electoral management body. So, whatever difficulties people have either at the point of registering to collect PVC, or even the actual collection of the PVC, or even the day of voting, whatever inadequacies we witness clearly is at the doorsteps of the election management body, which is INEC. But what I'm saying is that compared to, and I speak from the background that this is our longest stretch of unbroken democracy since Nigeria became independent, which is the 24th year. The first attempt, I think, lasted under 6 years. The second one was just over 4 years, and the third one was even stillborn. So we must commend ourselves first and foremost that we have lasted. This is the sixth electoral cycle that we are having in this republic, and definitely when we look at performance from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, I think we have some reasons to commend ourselves. Yes, it's not perfect, but there are reasons to commend ourselves, especially because some of the problems you also identify also have to do with the growing level of enthusiasm of the electorate. Time it was that what we complained about was voter apathy. Now you see the kind of level of enthusiasm that attended the registration to collect PVCs. We see the kind of enthusiasm that has attended even today's voting. That is an improvement, and managing that enthusiasm clearly will throw up one or two hiccups here and there. But I think overall, we still have a lot to say. We want to maybe congratulate ourselves first for having held up a democratic system for 24 years, which is a record in our history, but also for the conduct of the voters, and also I will insist the performance of the election management body.
Well, Nigerians, added to this polls amid mounting hardship and insecurity. Of course, this is not the first time that we are recording, such challenges going into election. And of course, a lot of people think it is high time that leaders are held responsible. Do you think that at the moment, or this is the point where Nigerians need to start holding their elected representative, responsible for whatever is going on in the country?
Thank you very much for that question. The very act of voting is an act of holding people holding offices responsible. The very act of voting. So whatever it is that Nigerians may be unhappy about concerning the way they live currently, this is a golden opportunity to express that, and that is the way to hold leaders responsible. It's not about screaming about it. Go and thumbprint and affirm your choice.
All right.
If you're unhappy with the current system, ensure that the party that is in charge of that current system does not return. That is what democracy is all about.
Right. All right, sir. Let's quickly go back to the issue of glitches in using beavers and all of that. I'm being joined right now by our correspondent in Rivers State. He is going to be telling us what really happened, why the governor of the state and his wife could not vote, in the past 1 hour or so. Egufe, can you hear me? Egufe, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Right. Okay. There's this report that Beavers failed to, recognize Governor Wike and his wife. Tell us what you know about that incident.
Yes, I actually sent that report, and the governor has just returned now for a second time to cast his vote, speaking to the media. And what happened really was that this morning, you may have heard the report from Rivers that there is visible delay of arrival of materials and officials, but it got even more complicated as Unit 7A, Ward 9, Okiato local government, the governor's unit. When he arrived at about half 11, the beaver couldn't capture his details for accreditation, and then he left disappointed. Strangely too, after a few minutes, the INEC officials left the beavers, about 3 of them. They left and didn't return until 12:30, when the governor was now called upon again to give it a second try. And luckily for him, he has just cast his vote. He's been accredited and cast his vote, and he's addressing the media about now.
All right, Egufe, are there such cases elsewhere, recorded elsewhere aside the governor's polling unit?
Whether the system was the same elsewhere?
Yes, were there cases of?
No. In the surrounding unit, we went down in the surrounding unit in the same ward. Voting was going on, although some of the other officials will say it's a bit slow sometimes, but voting is quickly going on well and it's peaceful in most of the units.
Right, all right. Let me quickly ask you this question before you go. We've seen that President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura voted, and of course he displayed who he voted or the party he voted, and we also saw that he voted the APC. Contrary to what we saw in Benue State, where the governor of the state apparently voted the Labour Party. He is a PDP governor, and then he's also a member of the G5 led by Governor Nyesom Wike. Do you know who Governor Wike voted?
Where he voted?
No, who he voted. The party Governor Wike voted.
And are you asking who he voted for?
Yes, I just cited an example of President Muhammadu Buhari displaying the party he voted for, right? And
where the governor completed and built some invitation that he flagged his ballot, but it wasn't enough for us to actually see who he voted for when he was going to drop his paper on the ballot box. But I just get from the colleague here now to know he just delivered some statements to the media, so I just get the details and get back to make it.
All right.
Whether something like that,
all right. Egufe, we will surely get back to you later today. Thank you very much for your thoughts. All right, Mr. Kayode Samuel, sorry for keeping you waiting. That was our correspondent in Rivers State, Yagbafuri Egufe. He was telling us about, the glitches we experienced initially, regarding the governor voting and his wife. And of course, he said that has been resolved now, and the governor has voted. Well, sir, you heard what he said. Do you have any addition to what he has just said?
Well, just to say that the concern with who voted for who is that of the press. You are supposed to hunt for news, and if that is part of the definition you give to news, that really is your business. But really, in a democracy, the voting decision and the voting choice of any individual is strictly that of the individual. So snooping around to find out who voted for who, or displaying your whatever to show who you voted for is really a matter of individual choice. It's not required. Yes.
This seemed to be a new trend. When the president voted, I thought it was supposed to be a secret ballot, and then he was showing it to the world that he voted the APC, and then Governor Otom did the same. So I wanted to know if we had a similar case in Rivers State, but all good. All right, sir. So
I quite understand you.
Right, sir. Let's quickly look at the issue of insecurity. In this election, have you observed any skirmishes recently?
Well, not really, except for a report which I am still not able to confirm, of vehicles that were supposed to move electoral materials in some parts of Lagos being being blocked from moving. Like I said, I don't have the details, but that is perhaps the only adverse report that I would say I have had now. But like I said, the details are still not they are still not out fully. But I think 3 local governments were mentioned as, and I think it's something to do with something to do with the issues within the transportation unions, I suppose. Yeah.
Right, we know INEC almost cancelled this election, postponed the election rather, owing to the issue of insecurity. But glad that so far the election has been adjudged peaceful and all of that. But at the moment, we will have to keep you on hold for a very short minute, because we need to quickly reach out to one of our correspondents in Anambra State, who is standing by to give us a live update from that state. Vincent, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, Vincent, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, what is the...
telling you well.
Right. Well, okay, so just tell us, what is the situation in Anambra State at the moment?
Okay, the election is progressing.
Right.
The turnout is very high here.
Right.
In most of the polling units in Anambra State, especially in Anambra Central, which belongs to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, who voted around 11:35. The only place to have an issue in this case is Ihiala area, where we understand that of insecurity, some of the polling units could not, the voting could not take place in those areas.
Right.
Apart from that, many parts of the state, the voting is ongoing, but there are issues in some polling units where the divers are malfunctioning, and the people are still there, stranded, hoping that something will happen before the 2:30 end of voting period.
All right, so Vincent, quickly tell us about the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. We understand that when he got to his polling unit, he was on queue for several minutes, before he voted. Tell us what really happened. Tell us the atmosphere, at his polling unit.
Well, first, it used to be the Labour candidate, presidential candidate, passed through the voting center.
Right.
Earlier, around 8 a.m.
Right.
And then went to his house.
Right.
Then came back to vote around 11.
Right.
And he voted with his wife.
Right.
The crowd there is very massive.
Right.
I could see media, but every television stations, radio stations across the country and outside the country were here and saw what the event.
Right. All right, so Vincent, quickly before you go, let me quickly ask the security situation in Anambra State, because we've had a lot of security issues, before this very election. How is the issue of security in Anambra State? 1 minute.
Security?
Yes.
Well, surprisingly, unlike what we used to experience during governorship elections, security men we are not seeing so much on the roads. But even at the I'm the now.
Right.
Where the people voted, you can't see much of the security men.
Right.
But everything is going on smoothly.
Thank you very much, Vincent. We'll surely get back to you later today. Thank you very much for your thoughts.
Pardon?
Thank you very much for that report. We'll get back to you. All right, we've been speaking with Vincent Ujumadu, Vanguard's correspondent in Anambra State. Of course, so we'll cross back to Mr. Kayode Samuel, the former Commissioner of Information, Ogun State, and a fellow institute of Commonwealth Studies in the University of London. Oh, sir, you're welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right, so you just heard, Vincent telling us about some of the happenings in Anambra State. Of course, he also commended the process and told us that, except for some few isolated cases, the election has gone smoothly in that state. Okay, sir, so before we let you go, could you please give us your general assessment of the election so far and what you have noted, observing from Lagos?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I think that Nigerians have very strong reason to congratulate themselves for the conduct of this election.
Right.
They also have very good reason to hope that the voters' choice will reflect in the results declared.
Right.
Again, elections are broken into different parts. I mean, there's the accreditation, there's the actual voting,
right.
But the crux really is about the results that are announced.
Right.
Whether the results will tally
right.
with the choices that the voters made.
Right.
I have very good reason to be optimistic that the results will tally with with what people actually thumbprinted. And for this, I believe that it is a positive sign.
Right.
It is a good reason,
right.
Because we do have too much of bad news around us.
Right.
We shouldn't pretend about that. But if we can get it right with this election, and just like I said, whatever citizens feel dissatisfied about,
right.
the way their country or their locality is being run,
right.
the opportunity of election is the time to express that. So if they have expressed it, let that expression of their choice also be reflected in the results. And I have strong reasons to believe that that would happen in this case.
Right.
Once again, I would say that Nigeria have very good reason to be optimistic. They have very good reason to also be watchful. And I want to go back to what President Jonathan said after he voted. Incidentally, I want to believe that that is one of the very, very great statements that have come out of today, where he said that, he repeated what he said in 2015, that nobody's election is worth the shedding of any Nigerian's blood. I think that is the thing that we should hold on to. Even as the results start to trickle in, let us be aware of the fact that nobody, no matter how we feel about that person, is big enough to request or
right.
to demand that blood be shed
right.
on his behalf.
Right. Right. Many thanks to you, Mr. Kayode Samuel, a former Commissioner for Information, Ogun State, and Fellow Institute of Commonwealth Studies, University of London. We are so glad to have you here on this show.
Thank you very much, and all the best today.
Yeah, many thanks. All right, so if you're just joining us, do not forget to like and share, and of course follow us on all our social media handles showing on your screen, and of course kindly log on to our website www.vanguardngl.com. Thank you.